What's up, everybody? You're watching Model Aviator. I'm Adam. This week we have RC Carrier Landings 2 for you. The first time we did this, we did it with my buddy Dustin Genton's E-flite F4 Phantom. We're going to leave a link in the description and at the end of this video to that one. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. It is a good time and kind of a great lead-in to this video. Now, speaking of Justin, he is the brains behind this whole operation. He came up with a pretty brilliant and very inexpensive way of utilizing an adjustable, easily retractable, and reusable wire system. And he has designed and 3D printed several arresting hooks for a few different airplanes. This time, we're using his Freewing F-14 Tomcat. This is a bit more complicated system and setup. So what you're going to see is an excerpt from the first video where Dustin is explaining the retractable wire system and how simple that is. And then you'll see an interview with Dustin about the F-14 and the specific hook and setup for that airplane for doing this. And then we'll get to it. This footage was shot over a couple different days. The first day was very, very windy. The next time is actually about a month later. It's a much, much better day, a lot warmer, a lot less wind. We had a lot more success that day. We tested this airplane and how strong it is. Pretty good. So it's going to be interesting. And at the end, there's some bonus footage where we actually shot a couple traps with the OG F-14. I actually had an emergency landing situation there that I handled pretty decent. So that's kind of cool to see. And there's a little bit of footage of Dustin playing with the proof of concept airplane, which is an old Park Zone Corsair. That was the first airplane that he kind of tested to see if this whole idea would work in the first place. This is a fun one. Enjoy it. We will have a link in the description for the afterburners that Dustin is using in the F-14. Those are KMRC model twin afterburners. You'll see that they look oh so good. Of course, we'll have our affiliate links to Horizon Hobby and Tower Hobbies if you need anything from them. When you go through there, it helps us out. We appreciate it. Enjoy this one. Happy flying. You guys have a great weekend ahead, and we'll see you next week with something cool with wings. What's up, guys? Right here we're going to shoot some carrier landings with my buddy Dustin's F-14. It's a Freewing F-14, right?
Yep.
So Dustin is going to explain the tail hook system he put on this thing. So I'm going to lift it up.
All right. So it comes with a stock tail hook. I took that off, made a kind of a fake one that looks about the same size as the existing one, the one that came with it. I put a servo right up in here that's connected to a piece of braided fishing line running through a PTFE tube. It comes down here and pops out right underneath the hook there, and it's basically a pull-pull system. So when I lower it, the servo allows the string to lower and the rubber band pulls the hook down. When you catch the hook, it pops back up without damaging anything, just because the rubber band's got tension on it. This little string back here is tied to the back of the hook here. That pulls it back up to the servo. There's a carbon fiber tube and a little 3D printed hinge piece with actually a barbecue skewer serving as a hinge, so that I have something that hopefully will break if it hits too hard. I have a little piece of control wire in here from actual hook. The one that it came with actually had the hook that would rotate both directions. I didn't like that because I didn't think that would work with the system I had. I think the pull would kind of mess that up. So that's why I had to print a new hinge there. But yeah, so far it looks all right. See how it goes.
Outstanding. So I'm going to put the airplane this way so you can bring the wings out and just explain your setup a little bit.
Yeah, so in normal flight, we've got ailerons and ailerons serving for the roll axis. Obviously it's a full flying stab, so you got full elevator there. We've got full wing flaps, and we still have a bit of aileron on both of those when they're in that configuration. It does go up farther than it goes down. That's just to try to prevent the wing stall quite as bad. If I use aileron when I get close to a stall, if it goes down, it will make the stall worse. I think RC Geek or somebody actually made it to where the aileron didn't go down at all. I didn't quite go that far, but it's not a bad idea. So pull the flaps back up, push the wings back. In this configuration, we don't have aileron at all. We just have tail elevator, and it's on a lower rate by default. It's very roll sensitive in this configuration. It still flies okay, but it's definitely a little bit more wobbly. So having the lower aileron rate does help, and I believe that was also something the RC Geek had recommended that worked for this one. That's I think that's about the extent of what I did to set it up. I did use the gear reinforcement kit. I believe RC Informer partnered with a guy in North Carolina to make a little replacement plate, so I did order that and did install it, especially knowing what I was going to be doing with it. I figured that would be a helpful thing to do.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. So when you are doing these, we're going to do them full flaps?
yeah, most likely, unless the wind really kicks up, then maybe go to half flaps just for a bit more control of the wing.
Right, and there is some wind today, and the reason it's not painted is because this is the first test day. If this is successful, he's going to paint it and make it look really neat, but instead of going to all the work, we wanted to see if it would work first. So now you're going to see if it works. You ready to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this. So this is Dustin's carrier cable system. In this end, just got a tent stake with, what is the line?
A little sinker.
Yeah.
3/4 ounce sinker.
Okay. And then it goes across. He's got little pieces of foam to hold it up. And Dustin, explain what you have here.
This is a $7 Walmart fishing reel, zip tied onto some little PVC, little 1/2-inch PVC device that kind of hammers into the ground with little spikes here. And it's nice because you can adjust the drag however you need it. You can reel it right back in as soon as you land. That works all right. And the little foam pieces are actually little fishing bobbers cut up. Holds it about a 1/4 inch off the runway, so you can run over it without catching your wheels, but just high enough for the hook to still catch it.
Here we're just getting everything ready. I'm making sure that all of the little orange foam spacers are spaced out across the runway to hold the line just high enough for the hook to catch. This will be Dustin's first attempt, and today was really not a good day to do this. It was windy. Here he's just kind of getting used to the airplane again. It's been a minute since he flew it. This day was interesting. And here's Dustin's first shot. And he got it, and the airplane's right in front of Heidi, so we changed her position. We actually didn't know how far the F-14 would run the line or exactly how hard to set the resistance, being the first time with that plane. You can see how hard the wind's blowing and how it's affecting the airplane, and you'll hear some metallic knocks in the background. That's actually the rings that are holding our flag knocking up against the flagpole, the wind blowing so hard. And Dustin got that one. He was a little short on it, but at least he got it. You can see Dustin is struggling a bit. The wind is really howling, it's gusty, and this end of the runway is between two sets of trees that are in fairly close proximity to the runway, so the wind kind of rolls over that. It's made this much more interesting than we intended for this first try. And he got it. A bit more interesting than he wanted, but he got it. So now things are about to get a lot more interesting. Yours truly is on the sticks here, and to be honest, I have not flown this airplane since maiden day at a much larger venue. That was damn close, wasn't it? So, spoiler alert, on this first day, I didn't catch one. We left this in so you can watch me struggle with this wind, which is much higher now than it was when Dustin was flying. And I'm not making excuses. This is a teaching moment. Bear with me. And yet another go-around on bolter, as they say on the ship. And another close call and another bolter, if you will. The teaching moment is this. This is an airplane that I clearly don't have a lot of time on. I'm not hugely familiar with it. And here we are on a day where the conditions are extremely rough, trying to shoot carrier landings and hit a pinpoint spot on a runway in these bad conditions. You have to know when to defer to the owner and say, you know, enough's enough. Should have handed it to Dustin and just said, hey, just land it and let's do this another day. But I didn't, and that's what happens.
Whoops.
We left this in just to show you how tough this airplane is. The only thing that broke was a gear door. That landing gear reinforcement really works because we put it to the test this day. And different day, much better circumstances. The weather was beautiful this morning, not much wind at all. Dustin had installed the KMRC Model twin afterburner in this Tomcat, and it looks great. This was a much better day. And Dustin catches one right off the bat. Having to execute go-arounds is just part of this process. It's easy to get so focused and locked in on catching the wire that you don't realize you've missed until the plane's well past you, and sometimes you're late getting on the throttle. Dustin was right on it that time. And now, redemption for yours truly. Much better conditions. I still don't have any more stick time on the plane, but no big gusty winds puts the odds in my favor. And Dustin forgot to plug the afterburners in for my flight. Dang it. That's way better. That's what we want. We're taking off and landing in different directions and doing really tight go-arounds when we have to, because the sun's coming up right off the right side of the runway and you can't see anything down there. And there's that hesitation when you miss the wire I was talking about. And did you notice the moron flying didn't have the hook down? That would be me. Had it down for that one. I got two. I'm happy. Stick around. We've got some cool bonus footage for you coming. So here I'm flying the OG E-flite F4 Phantom. This is the plane we featured in our first carrier landing video. The resistance on the line is still set for the heavier F-14, so it brings this little F4 to a stop in a hurry. And there's a go-around. And this is going to be a very interesting go-around here. It's going to go into low voltage cutoff. We lost track of time on the battery. Dustin flew it and then handed it to me. And I'm going to lose the engine right here in the worst possible spot, but I'm able to get the nose around, keep a steep angle of attack, keep it flying, and I at least made it to the short stuff.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, I completely lost power going on. Yep.
This is Dustin's 10-plus-year-old Park Zone Corsair. Now these things flew great when they were new, but this one has been crashed a gazillion times and it doesn't fly so high. This airplane was the proof of concept. It was the first airplane that Dustin put a retractable resting hook on to see if his idea would work at all. And funny thing, the resistance is still set for the F-14, and this thing weighs about 10% what it does. So it stops like a carbon cup. That's hilarious. This is called the circle jerk approach. It's going to work out well.
Almost got it.
There we go. Now that looks like a World War II carrier landing right there.
Man, if I caught the hook on that, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Man, just stick it back in, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
It'll get off the ground.
yeah. I tell you what, who needs gear? Oh, you know what we ought to do? We should pull them out and you do a belly landing hook.
I mean, I got it blew back in though. It's gonna be annoying.
Alright,
If it falls out, we'll do it. Or if one falls out.
you ready?
You know, toss it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Try it. Going for the scale carrier back.
Yeah, I think both gears are pulled up. There it is.
Hard enough.
That's awesome.